Good afternoon to everybody. I would like to share with you a medical program because when we're talking about beauty, we have to talk about skin health. Without building a skin health, we cannot have beauty. And without beauty, we cannot have skin health. They go together. And I would like to say that in the most of the countries that we are around, we see that it is difficult to obtain skin health. Why? Because the cosmetologists or the doctors, they do not work based on the cellular turnover. And the most of the products in the market, they are not made to enhance or to rebuild the cellular turnover. And the most of the products today, they inhibit the cellular turnover with catastrophic results. That means premature aging. Let's see how we can prevent. This photo, I put it on purpose. She's over 70. And what you can see that we have obtained with one treatment. And what you can obtain in a lady who is over 70 with one treatment, before and after, one treatment. And of course you will ask me how long it will last. But I would say nothing lasts forever if you don't maintain. Let's see a little bit the structure of the skin. Epidermis, dermis, basic membrane. And what is the most important for the healthy skin? The epidermis or the dermis? Sorry? Epidermis. So we have to maintain the epidermis cellular turnover. But the most of the products you put on the skin, how do you know that they preserve or they maintain the correct cellular turnover? You give a cream to the patient. How do you know that this cream is made for at least preserving the cellular turnover? Tell me. Nobody? Okay. The cellular turnover, it is something that you can see with the naked eyes. And immediately you can understand if the patient has a normal cellular turnover or the patient is premature aged, or if her skin or his skin is premature aged. That means clinically you can observe. And of course you can observe if he has healthy skin or if he has photo-aged skin or if he has damaged skin. And of course you have to personalize and make a scheme, like a protocol, in order to build the correct cellular turnover. Because if you don't build the cellular turnover, forget everything. Or you may damage her skin and you make it worse. And what is the most important? in order to build up a cellular turnover? Of course, you have to balance. But how you can balance? Without knowing the pH of the patient's skin and your treatments, you cannot design any balance. So you have to know the pH of the skin and, of course, the pH of the treatment, of the products. For the treatment, you're going to make it. Otherwise, how you can make it? You have to make a planning. But how you make a planning? You have to know this. And the first damage is coming, this is a clinical study, and the first damage is coming from the cleanser. The first damaging factor that alters the cellular turnover is the cleanser. And you know, the most of the cleansers are soaps, and they are alkalic. The first damage of the patient's skin, or your skin, starting from the cleanser. And this is a study already published with the names of the different companies and their cleansers. It's already published. And we know that the first damage of the skin starts from the cleanser. And how you regulate or how you can predict and give the proper cleanser, that's another question. But first of all, I would like to say a little bit about the cellular turnover. The cellular turnover starts from the basic starts from the basic membrane. This regulates the cellular turnover. Anything or any treatment you do below the basic membrane, you disturb the cycle, and everything you do just above, you regulate from negative point or to positive point. And what is the polarity of the skin? You have to know the polarity because we are polarized. The water is polarized. My body is polarized. My cell is polarized. How you can understand if the polarity is correct? Let's see how the skin is working. We have the dead cells, but except the dead cells, from the granular cells to Malpighian cells, all these are alive cells. And these are genetically modified. That means that they are organized to keep the cellular turnover in the transient period that means the stratum corneum has a transit period which is 12 days, while we know that the transit period of the keratinocytes from the basic membrane is 28 days. And you have to maintain this in order to have a healthy skin. That means you have to regulate the skin metabolism, the cellular metabolism. Like that you are fed and you have a metabolism that keeps your body cellular turnover, depends what is the organ, in the perfect way or according to the physiology. That means my eyes has a 3 days cellular turnover. My skin, 28, 35, depends on the age. My stomach, 5 days cellular turnover. Every organ has a cellular turnover. And we call it the metabolic cellular cycle. So I have to regulate the metabolism. And I have to regulate the metabolism how? Giving creams or making treatments in the clinic. But if you make creams, how you can influence the metabolism on the epidermis? you have to calculate this 12 days, and you have to calculate the 20 days. That means you have to know to get involved with the metabolism in order to have the healthy time, 28 days or 35, depending on the day of the age. And you have to do something in the clinic. That means exfoliation, or you have to regulate the exfoliation you do in the clinic. So the results, the normal architecture and organization of the epidermis depends on you, because you are the professional. If you don't work based on the cellular metabolism, you lose the game. The melanocytes. The melanocytes is another important thing that you have to consider, because they are participating in the cellular metabolism. Why? Because they reside in the basic membrane. And of course, the melanosomes, that means the things that the melanocytes produce, they are carried out from keratinocytes. And if the cycle of metabolism is disturbed, the melanosomes and the melanocytes are disturbed, and in this case, the first symptom is dyschromia. So if someone has dyschromia, that means it is disturbance of the cellular metabolism, and responsible for this, what it is? The creams that you prescribe. No creams? I cannot hear you. I will come back. Of course, when we are talking about all the parameters, you can say the hormonal, but what is the hormonal? The hormonal depends on the food you eat. Yes, my darling. The food you eat and the lifestyle influence the hormones, because the endocrine system is programmed to have a correct way, to work perfectly. What influence, what you make your life premature, make you premature aged, or you do anti-age protocols? The first anti-age protocols is lifestyle. That means how you move, what you eat. So, if you would like to age earlier, don't do good lifestyle. That means influence your hormones, influence the cellular turnover, and you go to the cycle which is not a healthy cycle. The same happens also in the skin, because everything depends on the life cycle. How you metabolize things, how you metabolize the cream you put in your skin, how you metabolize which is considered the skin food, and how you metabolize the eat that you eat, and how you metabolize the energy that you take from the environment. This is the life, so you have to consider everything. Okay, so in this case, let's see how we can. Melanocytes, they are activated from what? From UV radiation. So another key, the sun is damaging the skin? Yes or not? No. The sun, it doesn't start damaging the skin. If the sun was damaging the skin, I will not have phototype 5 persons here. And phototype persons here, they have a natural protection against the sun rays. The overexposure to the sun is damaging the skin. The sun, it doesn't damage the skin. The overexposed damages the skin. That's why a lot of people from Africa, they have a perfect skin without dyschromia. And of course, if they are exposed, overexposed, and they have a lifestyle with a lot of stress and a lot of other damaging factors, of course, they will face the problem in the skin. And the problem in the skin, normally we say, look, it's coming from hormonal system. No, it's not coming from hormonal system. What influences the hormonal system? The lifestyle influences the hormonal system. I will tell you another example. What happens if I see a lion in front of me? Immediately, my hormonal system is going to be under stress. My body is going to be under stress. What happens if my wife goes with another one? Of course, I'm going to be, this influence my hormonal system. My hormonal system, endocrine system is made to correct normally. Your lifestyle influences the hormonal system. Of course, the hormonal system influences the cell, the skin cycle, but it's not the hormonal system. It's the lifestyle that I make. And of course, if I am overexposed to the sun, then of course I will have the overexposure to the sun. That means that it will make things worse. That means I have a stress and I have another stress. Okay? So the first thing is that you have to understand how you regulate the skin metabolism. Because the skin metabolism always takes 4 to 6 weeks in order to be correct, according to the age. The younger, the smaller turnover, better metabolism, then better skin. When you are getting older, slow metabolism, that means the skin does not have, the cell does not have energy, then the functions are delayed, and the formation of the proteins also, they are delayed as well, and they are not as proper as it was before, then you have aging skin. So that means you have to maintain the cellular turnover because with the age or with the lifestyle, from the 4 weeks, 28 days, it's becoming 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and sometimes over that, 7 weeks. What is the first treatment that you do? Your first treatment is to regulate the cellular metabolism, the cellular turnover. How? You have to do things in the clinic and you have to do things at home. That means you have to be very precise on the products that you should give at home for the patient. Otherwise, you damage the skin, or otherwise, you diverse the treatments that you have done in the clinic. Because the layers, the dermis, it's completely different than the epidermis. And you have to consider the dermis, because the dermis depends on the epidermis cellular turnover. That means the creams that you put every day in your skin plays a critical role. They can destroy everything. And the most of the cases, that's another clinical data that came recently, the creams, they make the problems on the skin. The improper creams, that they are blocking the cellular metabolism. And this is already known, like the first damage from the skin to the skin comes from the cleansers. Soap, you know, the gynecologists, they say, don't wash your sensitive area with the soap. Why? Because they change the microflora. But here, the skin has his own microflora, which is very, very similar to the sensitive skin microflora. And you damage the microflora every day with a cleanser and with the creams or with the makeup you put it. And then you don't damage the skin, the epidermis, I mean. You damage what else? The dermis. How you damage the dermis? Because the dermis depends on the epidermis. But in the dermis, we have other organs living in the dermis. You see? We have, we have collagen, we have glycosaminoglycans, we have the fibroblast, that means the first defense system, and we have the collagen fibers that they are supporting the skin. So you damage everything from the epidermis. All those are damaged from the epidermis because the epidermis is exposed to external factors, and one external factor is the cream that you put every day. If you put makeup or improper cream, then the damage you have in the skin is not from the sun. It is from the cream that it is oxidized from the sun. Tell me, lady.
Makeup doesn't ruin the skin.
Sorry?
Makeup is not harmful for the skin.
The makeup is damaging the skin, my lady. And we can make another scientific session for this, and I will explain you how the makeup is damaging the skin. First, damage of the skin with the makeup, because what is the pH of the makeup? Tell me what is the pH of the makeup.
12.
Sorry?
12.
12. If it is, okay, the makeup is 12. I will not say you to 12. It is 9, between 9 and 12, right?
I don't put directly makeup on my skin. So I think that if I take care of my skin every day with food, good creams, and I move, and I am healthy, makeup doesn't ruin too much my skin.
Look, I have another presentation, but I will explain to you. I will explain to you. This doesn't go backwards. Or it is. Okay. What is the healthy skin pH in order to keep the metabolism of the skin? Huh? 3.5 to 5.5. If you change this pH, that means immediately you alter the cellular turnover. And you can imagine if you put a makeup of pH 9 or 12. It is written in the books. There are too many clinical data for this. You go to physiology books, because a lot of people, they don't go to physiology books. Go to physiology and then see whatever you put on your skin, it is damaging if it is not according to physiological pH. That means you damage your sensitive area with the soap every day.
Sorry.
And this is a big damage.
Last question.
Yes, please.
How old are you?
67.
Okay, I'm about 60. I am a makeup artist, graduated esthetician, beauty therapist, and nurse.
Very good.
I use makeup since I was 15 years old, and if you look at my skin, it's not so ruined as you think. So I have attended course with doctors and pharmacists, Roberto Borellini from Italy, INCI, you know what is INCI?
Yes.
International Nomenclature,
Yes.
Cosmetic Ingredients. I am graduated in this, and I can tell you that is not all true what you tell to me, because makeup is not so harmful to the skin. So tell me which books write this scientific, where is written. So I not agree with you, basically, because I listen to you. I appreciate what you tell, but the word that makeup is terrible harmful for the skin is not 100% correct, okay?
First,
Then I close.
First of all, I'm not against makeup. We know that makeup, if we go to how we make the makeup and the pH of the makeup, I know in medicine, because I'm pre-med medicine doctor, then it's damaging the skin. I'm not against the makeup, but if we don't use correct the makeup, it is damaging the skin. I'm not saying I'm not against the makeup, but what I'm saying is scientifically, and there are too many clinical studies now in medicine, that if you alter the pH of the skin based of 12 pH makeup, 9 pH makeup, of course you damage the metabolism of the cellular turnover, and you go to pre-cancer and cancer lesions that we see in the everyday in the dermatology clinics. This is something that we can discuss. That's good that you have mentioned. I'm not against the makeup, but the wrong use of makeup makes the problem. Please.
Sorry, I would like to say something. I find what you expose, I find very interesting. But the way that you expose it is like in the 60s. You know, that all the cosmetics and all the makeup stuff, they developed themselves so much. It's not in the 50s when they were using, I don't know, all kind of damaging stuff. So maybe I feel that you want to tell us something important, but the way that you are saying it, it's actually so old-fashioned that actually arouse all kinds of reactions. Because you know, it's 2021, and every year and every company today, it's very hard. I think maybe if you go to China and you import through Alibaba or something, you can find unfit products.
My dear, let me explain to you. I'm not here to promote something. I'm here to say what the medical books are writing, and it is up to you to understand how important it is to know the pH and the cellular turnover and cellular metabolism. It is up to you to implement whatever you need to implement. But let me finish, and then I will be able to talk with you at the end of the lecture. Because now you know only the half of the lecture, okay? You don't know the other half.
I don't come to contest what you say because you didn't finish. I'm just saying that you put on the shoulder of a makeup something that is very hard to make us to go with it further. Of course, I'm going to sit here. I'm not going, but I'm just telling you that I agree with you completely. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. So, what about the dermis? That means the dermis, if it is influenced and you change the metabolism, then all the problems that the cells live in the dermis, they suffer. That's just only changing the cellular turnover, because this is the king. This is the brain of the cell. You alter the cellular membrane. If you alter the cellular membrane, you know you don't have a healthy cell. This is written in the books. Let's go ahead, because the skin function is very important. That's why we have to respect the skin function. And the skin function, it is so important because it protects the whole body. But I would like to share with you some other information. The cell, all the skin, regulates the vitamin or the hormone D. What about the hormone D? Why the people here they are having so much sun and they have deficiency of the vitamin D? Why? Because you change, my dear, the cellular turnover. You change the cellular turnover. The cellular turnover is regulated, you see, go to the physiology books. Is regulated from the genes. You dysregulate the genes if you change the pH of your physiological epidermis. okay? Because you change the enzyme activity, and then you are directly influence the skin metabolism. Okay? So, because we have, of course, I'm not against the makeup or whatever. I'm not trying to say don't use makeup, but you have to use it correctly. Why? Because you have endogenous factors that damaging the skin, and of course you have exogenous factors damaging the skin. I'm gonna go now to the how you reprogram, because you have to reprogram how you make it. And because in medicine, the proteins, here every day we lose proteins, and every day we make proteins. And every 30 days I have a new proteins. What regulates this? The way that I live and what I put on my skin. And because maybe you misunderstood me, it is not only the makeup that is damaging, also some creams they damage the skin as well. Because the proteins in the skin are there for transport, for receptor, to give a message, to have intracellular communication, the enzymes, the signal, and the support. Photoaging. Let's see. We talk about the sun is damaging the skin. The overexposure damages the skin. That's why we have today a lot of vitamin D deficiency or hormonal D deficiency. Because we are not exposed enough to the sun. We need to be exposed to the sun, but not too much to the sun. The overexposure makes the things talk about photoaging. So, if we are lacking, if we have skin with photoaging, we have lack of elasticity, roughness, fine lines, and what to do? What to do? I have to enhance this. That's why in the aesthetic medicine, is the first tool that we have in the clinic. The peelings. Why we have these peelings? In order to regulate the cellular turnover at a healthy level. And we have to maintain this at a healthy level regulation, because every other product that dysregulate, they make a problem. And of course, histologically we know and we see that how to maintain the healthy skin or how to avoid the smoking parameters or other parameters. And just to finish, I can say, when you are young, the cellular turnover is 20 days to 35 days. When you are 30, there is a delay. It is 30 days. When you are 40, you are 40 days cellular turnover. When you are 50, 50 days. The weeks are going, the days are going. And what is the protocols that you should use? Always you should use protocols that regulate the cellular turnover to the minimum cellular cycle. Always this way you maintain healthy skin without the need of covering. Thank you very much. I'm ready for questions if I have time. I would like also to talk with you at the end of the... No questions? Thank you very much.